this is something about the culture as well. How do we call our employees or staff? This is something very important because sometimes it can be very pejorative as well, or at least resentment, how they feel about it. And some organizations, they don't call them employees or staff. They have their, I won't even use those names because you will recall to which organization I'm referring. But it's very important that you choose and you find your or team members or whatever it is. It's very important. You know, they need to connect to your values. We're talking about values, purpose, vision, purpose, and values. Your VPVs, as you call them. Connecting what you believe really. So the picture I was talking about was, there's a lot of people pushing a cart. Honorable Minister, welcome. There's a lot of people pushing a cart. And in the leading wagon, the board, or the CEOs and his team. And the team could not see what was happening. And very often in our organization, you have a CEO, and by the way, I could not remember what you said on who said it, but yes, in the CEO manual, the first thing you do, you fire all the people in the leading team, and the second thing, you rebrand. It is in the CEO's manual. So that's why, if you're joining a company, we're doing a rebranding, it is in the CEO's manual. I'm not saying the manual is right, but this is what in the CEO manual. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me. And I'm sure you know that saying about I didn't have time to write or to read a short book. So it's very long because I was only aware that I was coming here just when I almost walked inside the room. I had a speech that the minister apologized, he was supposed to be here, so I'm here to replace him. And I have this speech as well. And I have another speech because I've asked my team to write another speech. But I think after listening to those very passionate people, colleagues, because I'm sure most of you know me, where I come from, I can't read those papers. I'll just take some notes here and there. I've asked Jennifer earlier how much time I have. So if you're still not happy with the speech, so I'll take those two speeches together, and if you still have time. Thank you very much. So I'm very glad to see some old faces in the room. I don't know anything about human resource, actually. I've led organizations. I've been head of departments, managers, executive vice president. So I think I know a little bit, not exactly as human resource. I know a lot of branding. I love branding, actually. And just before joining politics, Ellen was asking me how it's going. I'll tell you in 5 years. I was creating a brand for a leading company in the safari business in Africa. So I'd like to talk, after hearing those passionate people talking about branding, culture, I'd like to talk a little bit about branding and human resource and culture. And your takeaway, in case I forget, is, you know, the narrative KISS, acronym KISS. Keep it stupid simple and leave a talk. I'm not going to use that code that they wrote for me. I'm going to use one. I'm sure you know the story about this old lady that came to see Mahatma Gandhi, my guru, and asked Mahatma Gandhi, say, you know, my son, do we have time? Well, we don't have time yet.
Yes, we have.
Let me have a look at my watch, otherwise by next. She asked me how much time I can speak. I can speak tomorrow if you want. Mahatma Gandhi asked, and the lady asked Mahatma Gandhi, you know, my son takes a lot of sugar. Cannot they walk around? Takes a lot of sugar. If you came to listen to a politician, a minister, I suggest that you come in 5 years' time, because I'm not used to that role. But I'm passionate what you're doing. So, and I'm just sad that I could not follow the entire conference because I could see some great panelists and some great speakers earlier. So, yeah, thank you for the time. So Mahatma Gandhi said to the lady, the lady was saying, my son takes a lot of sugar. So can you please speak to my son, Mahatma? Because I want you to tell him some words of wisdom, and we hope that he will stop sugar. Mahatma said to the lady, can you please come in a week's time? So she didn't understand. Why in a week's time? Anyway, she came in a week's time and said, Mahatma, now please speak to my son and ask my son to stop taking sugar. And Mahatma looked at the little boy and said, little boy, please stop taking sugar. And the lady was, I said, what? Why you wait for 1 week? Just to say what you just said. Stop taking sugar. Mahatma said to the lady, he said, you know what? And we're still talking about culture. And I've seen a lot of slogans, logos. We're talking of branding. And I think one of the colleagues on the panel said, disconnect with what you are, really. Mahatma said, you know, madam, I have to admit, I was myself last week taking a lot of sugar, like me. And I could not say to your son, stop taking sugar, while I'm still taking a lot of sugar. So I practiced for a week, stop taking sugar. Now, like your son is going to do, I've stopped taking sugar. So, you know, I have a picture, and if I knew I was coming, I would have brought that picture to. And when I was working, and I'm sure I won't mention any names of companies in that room, because they don't pay me to do any publicity for them, but I love all of them, everywhere I've worked, and there's a saying, and we're still talking about human resource organization and culture. If you don't want to work one day in your life, do something that you like. Yes, I love what I'm doing. Not every day, I must admit, not every time, but I'm still learning what I'm doing. And I'm moved, and I'm sure you know, companies to companies, not because of the companies, just to do something new, to do something different. And I don't know how we will call them, because this is something about the culture as well. How do we call our employees or staff? This is something very important, because sometimes it can be very pejorative as well, or at least resentment, how they feel about it. And some organizations, they don't call them employees or staff. They have their, I won't even use those names because you will recall to which organization I'm referring. But it's very important that you choose and you find your or team members or whatever it is. It's very important. You know, they need to connect to your values. We're talking about values, purpose, vision, purpose, and values. Your VPVs, as you call them. Connecting what you believe really. So the picture I was talking about was, there's a lot of people pushing a cart. Honorable Minister, welcome. There's a lot of people pushing a cart. And in the leading wagon, the board, or the CEOs and his team. And the team could not see what was happening. And very often in our organization, you have a CEO, and by the way, I could not remember what you said on who said it, but yes, in the CEO manual, the first thing you do, you fire all the people in the leading team, and the second thing, you rebrand. It is in the CEO's manual. So that's why, if you're joining a company, we're doing a rebranding, it is in the CEO's manual. I'm not saying the manual is right, but this is what in the CEO manual. And I also, I think, Ravi, you mentioned it, the ethics are not always there, but if you're you're a star, or you bring a lot of money in the organization, you know, I will not mention it here, but probably during tea and coffee, I get you some funny, but you know, everything is half a joke, but the other half is real, and this exists in organization. So talking about branding, I was interviewed about branding actually. I think it was for that conference, but I was not aware that it was going to be used for that conference. They asked me, what do you think about branding? You know, branding, a brand, what is a brand? You can be a brand, like I said to Jennifer. There's a lot of Jennifers, it's a very common name, like most of our names. But even if it's very common, you can become a brand. And I hope you will forgive me for that because it's positive. If I say Navin in that room, what do you think of? And I'm not doing politics, I'm just recognizing some part of your brain. You see what I get? What I mean? It's all about the show. if you're doing a rebranding, because I'm passionate about branding, I've worked for organizations doing rebranding. I've created brand myself. I was just, because joining politics, I was working for that organization, creating another brand. A brand, the name will come later. What's important is the show, the performance, what you're doing, you achieve. I think in finance, we've stopped talking about profit and loss, P&L. We're talking about results. Because if you're doing the right things, the result will come. If in your organization, I've heard about the best place to work and all those things. If you're doing what is right, the team, the people will want to work for you. Not because you're paying more. Yes, it is part of the game as well. The money, the incentive, the benefit. It should be part, but it is not the only thing. And the people will want, I don't want to mention names of companies, but I'm sure on the other side of your brain, you have names of companies popping in your mind about where you do not want to work or where you want to work. You can see some smiling room. You know why? Because of the name. Probably you don't know the culture. Probably you don't know what they're doing. But you want to work there. Have you experienced that? People also follow people. And people leave people. And there's a report saying, I've never seen, or not never seen, there's more and more people leaving leaders or following leaders. And I've worked with both of those leaders. And if you really mean it, I was saying I'm not good at human resource. But one thing I'm good at is at people. I can tell you, I really like people in the organization as well. Not easy to work with me, but I really like people and I'm genuine. And in organization, you need to be genuine. If your best team member come and tell you, boss, first of all, before the team member will come and see you to tell you that they got another job, what do you think? You need to create that culture, allowing them, favoring it, for them to come and see you. And I've experienced it, and probably some of you in the room, and or others I'm sure, come and see me. Boss, I got another job. I say, sit down, let's see what your salary. Because probably I can't keep that person. And probably it's a really good opportunity. It's not in my organization. I can't offer that. I can't match that. And they sincerely did not come to see me to match. But they really want my advice. Ask yourself that question as an organization. Are you really prepared to give an honest answer to that person? Genuinely. Leave the talk. You said that, sir. Leave the talk like Gandhi did. Don't have big slogan, big logo, talking about things that yourself you cannot explain. And your team members cannot connect. It's like these people pushing back. Oh, it's already 2 minutes left. Come on, I will stop it. Okay, I will rush. Pushing that cart, but they don't know where they're going because there's no sense of direction. When I worked for one organization before we start, I still remember the day we did that rebranding. We had the entire people in the room. They all knew where we're going. And by the way, Varuna, one of the organizations with one of the people I've worked, a great man for whom I have a lot of respect, who was one of your leaders before, when we did the rebranding for your organization, I can mention this here, not rebranding, they were talking and looking for a vision statement, mission statement for La Pirogue Hotel. They're saying, what do you think we should say? He was saying it in English, and one gardener in the room could not even speak one word of English, saying, Michel, nous bisons faire pas que les là. Can someone translate for our guest there? Nous bisons faire je Marie content. And this statement from that gardener became, our mission is to make every customer Marie content. Now, even our English-speaking customer then understand what Marie content means. And when you work around that, connect, be true. I haven't spoken about branding. If you allow me about 33 seconds, your company, your organization can become a brand. You know Pele? Pele is not a good name. It's not a nice name. Actually, go and look for that definition. And why they call him Pele? Because he was bullied at school. And they use that word Pele. But you didn't know. Most of the planet didn't know. The only thing you remember about Pele is a great. And even In the schoolyard, the people was like playing and saying like, I'm Pele. I'll give you another one and I conclude. My team was playing against Inter Milan or AC Milan every time and we were losing. I'll let you guess who was my team. It's not in the first 10 in the Premier League. So, yeah, thank you. We get it there. It's Manchester United. Every time we were playing against that team, there was one player, I'm sure you remember him at the time, Kaka. Remember Kaka? Yeah? Remember Kaka playing against Manchester United? At school, the students, they calling themselves Kaka. And Kaka is a bad name. Talking about the name, you put the name later. I'm not asking you to call your company Pele or Kaka, but we're talking about branding. What I'm saying is, what makes a name is the show, is a performance. If you really believe in what you do, and you really stick to those values, you'll succeed. And the team, I always say to people, because I like people, I say, you know what? You can't fool a dog. You can't fool me, you can't fool other people. A dog knows if you love him or not. Your team members as well. And if you choose. I was hearing my anyway. Jennifer, I know next time you'll be lovely and I look